Why are we afraid of heights, even when we know we're safe? You're standing on the edge. Solid ground under my feet, railing in my hands. Everything is under control, but my body turns on the alarm to the maximum. Your knees are buckling, your heart is pounding in your throat, your palms are wet, and you feel this dizzying downward pull, as if something is pulling you to jump, even though you absolutely do not want to. It's not just caution, it's acrophobia, fear of heights, and millions of people live with this feeling every day. But where does this fear come from? Which makes adults freeze on the stairs, abandon viewing platforms, and cling to walls in places where others are quietly photographed. To begin with, fear of heights is an ancient defense mechanism. Our brains are evolutionarily tuned to survive, and falling from a height has always been one of the most real threats. Our ancestors didn't have parachutes, safety nets, or handrails. One wrong step could mean death. Therefore, the brain has learned to turn on the alarm in advance. Hi, stay away. Don't take any chances. This is normal and even useful. But for people with acrophobia, this protective signal has broken down and turns on too early, too strongly, even where there is no real danger. The second floor of a shopping mall, an escalator, a transparent floor in a museum, a hotel balcony. Your body reacts as if you're standing on a cliff without insurance, even though there's concrete, glass, and safety all around. Acrophobia often appears after a specific event. Maybe you fell off a swing, a ladder, or a tree as a child, and your brain remembered it as height equals pain. Maybe someone scared you with the words, "You're going to fall. Don't look down. Hold on tight." And you learn that heights are dangerous, even if you haven't experienced anything yourself. Or maybe it happened later. You watched a movie where someone lost their temper, saw the news about an accident, or just felt dizzy at altitude one day, and your brain tied it into a knot. Altitude, anxiety, threat. Then avoidance works. You start bypassing bridges, choosing lower floors, avoiding trips to the mountains, and not approaching windows in high-rise buildings. And every time you avoid, the brain makes a conclusion. I escaped, so the danger was real. This is how the phobia strengthens. Over time, you may start missing not the height itself, but the thought of it. A first-person video from a height, a movie scene, even a conversation about mountains or skyscrapers. One of the strangest and most frightening parts of acrophobia is the phenomenon of the call of the abyss. You're standing at a height, and you feel an irrational urge to jump, step forward, bend over. These are not suicidal thoughts. This is a mistake of the brain, which confuses alarm and control signals. He's trying to warn you, don't do this, but he's articulating it through a modus operandi, and you perceive it as temptation. It's very scary because you start to be afraid not only of heights, but also of yourself, your reactions, and loss of control. And this increases avoidance. Acrophobia is not a weakness or a character. It's a learned reaction, and it can be retrained. In therapy, a gradual safe approach is used. First look at photos of heights, then videos, then stand at the window on the second floor, then on the third, and so step by step regain control of the brain and prove to it, I can withstand. I'm safe. Nothing happened. It's not about heroism. It's about small victories where you stop running away and start controlling your body, not the other way around. If you have acrophobia, write in the comments. What exactly triggers you more? The height itself, the transparent floor, the view down, or the thought that you might lose your balance? And answer honestly. Do you avoid heights? Or is she already avoiding you, limiting your life?